no matter what it cost. And as a result, God honored him with an understanding of the future. We read in Daniel 1, verse 8, it says, Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Daniel's request was at first denied, but he persisted, and finally his superior was persuaded that he would give him a 10-day trial. And as a result, they found out that the 10-day trial showed that the diet that Daniel wanted was actually superior to the other diet that the others were eating. And so from then on, he and his companions were allowed to eat a simple diet. And notice what the consequences were. Here in Daniel 1, verses 16 and onward, it says, Thus the steward took away their portion of delicacies and the wine that they were to drink, and gave them vegetables. Now at the end of the days, when the king had said that they should be brought in, the chief of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. And it says in verse 19, Among them all none was found like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah. Therefore they served before the king. You know, God says in the Bible, His holy book, He says, those that honor me, I will honor. And Daniel decided that he would honor God, that he would obey God, even if it was at the risk of his life, which it was. And so God honored them. And this brings us to a most intriguing story. God did not choose to protect Jerusalem from the onslaughts of Nebuchadnezzar and his army because of the sin, because of the wickedness, the rebellion of the children of Israel. Nevertheless, God was going to show to this despotic ruler that He was still God, and that only He, the God of heaven, could control the events of the future and predict what was going to happen. This king, Nebuchadnezzar, he believed in astrology and magic and sorcery and Eastern prognostication. But God was going to show him that these sciences were inaccurate, and that He alone had such power. The claim of God that He alone is God and that there is no other is precisely based upon the fact that He alone can predict the future. We read this in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 45, verse 21 says, Tell and bring forth your case. Yes, let them take counsel together. Who has declared this from ancient time? Who has told it from that time? Have not I the Lord? And there is no other God besides me, a just God and a Savior. There is none beside me. God says, there's no other God. Bring forth your case. Predict the future. Notice what God says again in Isaiah 46. He says, Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. So God says that one of the greatest proofs that He is the God of heaven, that He is the only true God, is that He can predict the future. You see, God can not only predict the future, He can control the future. But Nebuchadnezzar prided himself that he was the one that controlled world events. He was a world ruler, the most powerful nation in the world at that time. But God was going to show this proud king that the prerogative to predict and to control the future belonged to the God of heaven alone. Though Nebuchadnezzar appreciated Daniel because of his skill and youthfulness, he despised Daniel's God. But this very God whom Nebuchadnezzar despised visited him one night in his sleep. He gave him a dream that was so ominous that it startled him awake. But when he awoke trembling, he could not remember what he dreamed. In just a moment, we'll see what he dreamed.
We at Steps to Life are committed to helping you better understand the Bible and prepare for future events. We would like to send you a free study pack including a study guide and audio cassette of today's subject, The Future Revealed, and a free book entitled Why Hitler Lost. Simply call 1-800-THE-TRUTH and ask for TV offer number 1. Have you ever wondered why Hitler, who seemed to be so invincible, who had all the resources he needed, failed to unite Europe? What happened? Why did the U.S. take so long before coming into World War II? Was Hitler a madman, or were there forces behind his insane actions? Why did he hate the Jews so much? Why Hitler Lost will examine these questions and bring meaning to the tragedies of the world through the prophecies of the Bible. When you call, ask for details on how to obtain your very own prophecy seminar binder to organize the studies you receive. Simply call 1-800-THE-TRUTH and ask for offer number 1.
Welcome back. Have you ever had a dream that you could not recall when you woke up? That was the problem that Nebuchadnezzar had. Notice what it says here in Daniel, the 2nd chapter. It says that Nebuchadnezzar, in the 2nd year of his reign, he had dreams, and his spirit was so troubled that his sleep left him. Then the king gave command to call the magicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans to tell the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said to them, I have had a dream, and my spirit is anxious to know the dream. Then the Chaldeans spoke to the king in Aramaic, O king, live forever. Tell your servants the dream, and we will give the interpretation. But the king answered and said to the Chaldeans, My decision is firm. If you do not make known the dream to me and its interpretation, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made an ash heap. However, if you tell me the dream and its interpretation, you shall receive from me gifts, rewards, and great honor. Therefore tell me the dream and its interpretation. These men claimed to be in contact with the gods and to be able to foretell the future. And so it was reasonable of Nebuchadnezzar to ask them to tell him what he had dreamed. They claimed to have access to secret information. They claimed to be able to read the secrets of the future and the secrets of men's lives. They ate at the king's table, his food, and drank his wine. Now it was time for them to produce, and they couldn't. And so the king was furious. And the Chaldeans answered the king in verse 10, and they said, There is not a man on earth who can tell the king's matter. Therefore no king, lord, or ruler has ever asked such things of any magician, astrologer, or Chaldean. It is a difficult thing that the king requires, and there is no other who can tell it to the king except the gods whose dwelling is not with flesh. The king was extremely angry then. Here these men claimed to be able to foretell the future, to be able to tell the secrets of men's lives, but now they couldn't do it. And so he gave a decree for all the magicians, all the Chaldeans, all the astrologers to be killed. And this involved Daniel, because Daniel was in training to be a Chaldean. But all of this was in God's plan, because now he had the attention of the whole kingdom of Babylon, and even the world was shocked to attention by the dream that nobody could reveal. God had given the dream, and now that he had the world's attention, he was going to reveal the meaning through the one person who had been loyal to him. And so we read in Daniel 2, verse 16, it says, Daniel went in and asked the king to give him time that he might tell the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the decision known to Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, and his companions, that they might seek mercies from the God of heaven concerning this secret, so that Daniel and his companions might not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then the secret was revealed to Daniel in a night vision. So Daniel blessed the God of heaven. And then, of course, Daniel had to go in and to tell the king. He not only was going to tell the king his dream, he not only was going to explain it, he was going to tell why God had given this dream to Nebuchadnezzar.